Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my end. Thank you for answering our invitation. Now we have joint press statements of the Ministers of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Bogdan Aurescu, and Deputy Secretary General of OECD, Mr. Ulrik Vestergaard Knudsen. Hello, I'm very happy to have the opportunity to welcome to Bucharest, to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency, the Deputy Secretary General of OECD, Mr. Ulrik Vestergaard Knudsen, together with the delegation of the OECD Secretariat. So welcome to Bucharest. Today, my colleagues in the ministry and I had a very substantial dialogue in the context of the kick-off mission for our country's accession to the organization. The OECD Secretariat carries out such missions in each candidate country, and we are very glad that in the case of Romania, this mission is organized just 2 weeks after the adoption of the accession roadmap at the Interministerial Council meeting from Paris, where I had the honor to represent Romania, which I invoke with great satisfaction. Approving the accession roadmap is the second most important thing in our road as a member to the organization after the crucial moment of the decision from the 25th of January of opening the accession talks with Romania. Also, the approval of the accession roadmap meant a recognition of our national efforts to profile Romania like a like-minded partner of OECD and of involvement in the activity, efforts that we've constantly made since we've applied to OECD 18 years ago, but especially in the last 2.5 years. The roadmap is a very important milestone, not only in our relationship with the organization, this document being the document that sets out the terms, the conditions, and the stages of Romania's accession to OECD. Also, it will have an important effect on our institutional, economic, and social transformation. Mr. Deputy Secretary General, your visit to Romania is an essential step in preparing for the accession process. Besides the political significance of the start of the accession talks, the mission you are leading has also a technical component, contributing to guiding Romanian ministries and institutions in developing self-assessments and positionings in relation to OECD tools included in the roadmap. On this occasion, I would particularly like to reiterate our appreciation and gratitude for the work of the OECD Secretariat, which has guided and supported the efforts of the candidate countries, Romania included, to prepare for the start of the accession process. Actually, in the relationship with the institutions with which we work in the interinstitutional task force that was created, we started to technically work on the development of the initial memorandum, which is the next step after the roadmap. At the moment, especially after the approval of the roadmap, we consolidated the preparations for the accession talks by institutional organizations. So at the national level, we intensified the activity of the Interministerial Committee for the Romania's relation with the OECD, which is headed by the Prime Minister Nicolae Ciucă, and which is responsible for the political coordination of the process. We created the task force that I've mentioned. We will also create within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs a structure that will directly deal with the management of this process. In the end, I would like to underline that the Romanian authorities are ready and anxious at the same time to engage in a dialogue with you in order to do in a substantial and pragmatical and careful manner all the steps of the accession. Our strategic objective is that through this process to have a convergence with the countries with the consolidated economies and to be part of what the Secretary General, Mr. Corman, was called at some point a real economic NATO. The OECD motto, better policies for better lives, will guide our national efforts. Deputy Secretary General, you have the floor.
There only I think 2.5 weeks ago, the adoption of Romania's accession roadmap at the OECD Ministerial Council meeting on the 10th of June. But we're not here only to celebrate. We've already had very rich discussions on how to get these accession negotiation talks started, and it's a true pleasure. And we're already tackling some of the issues. Now, we're not starting from scratch in the sense that we've enjoyed very, very close cooperation with Romania in the years leading up to accession. I'd like to extend my sincere congratulations again to you, Foreign Minister, and your whole team, because of your unwavering political commitment to maintaining and deepening your country's engagement in pursuit of OECD membership, and it goes for the Prime Minister as well. Our continuous cooperation dates back to the 1990s and really has stood the test of time, as Romania has become one of the closest partners of the OECD. Deepening the cooperation with the OECD with a view to potential membership has been an overarching political priority of a number of constructive governments here in Bucharest. They've all continuously sought to align Romania's policies with OECD standards and best practices, and I have been assured just over the last couple of hours that this is actually still a position that enjoys full consensus even in Parliament. So we look forward to working with you. We've already implemented a number of projects with a view to delivering better policies for better lives for the Romanian people. This is what this is all about, really. We want to help Romania and its people. We've worked together in crucial areas such as public governance, education, economic policy, capital markets. Yesterday, earlier today, indeed, together with the European Commission and the Romanian authorities, we launched the OECD Capital Markets review of Romania, just to give you an example. The further enlargement of our organization, the OECD, is a historic step also for us, and it comes at a time when it's more important than ever for like-minded countries to reinforce their cooperation. And I have said, I hope forcefully, thankfully to the Foreign Minister today, how much we have been impressed with the way Romania has showed solidarity, has showed action, has showed compassion with Ukraine, and has been really a steadfast member of this like-minded society and society of shared values that the OECD also is. It's going to be also a technical journey, not only a political journey. 26 OECD technical committees are going to have a view at Romania's legislation, policies and practices. So we hope that this will be a transformative process and a catalyst for reform here in Romania, providing hopefully powerful advantage for the adoption of major legislative and policy changes. OECD membership basically allows countries to tap into the vast reservoir of OECD expertise, advice and policy dialogue in order to support policy making and reform. Countries are able to learn from the experience of existing OECD members, just as we will be able to learn from Romania's best practices and policies. And there are so many overlapping concerns and priorities between Romania and the OECD agenda. I can mention just reducing inequalities, maximizing trade and investment, fostering innovation, protecting the environment, fighting corruption, optimizing the effectiveness of education, health and labor market policies. These are all shared concerns. The accession process itself serves as a catalyst for important reforms, as I said, and supports the domestic policy agenda, hopefully also. As to the timeline for the accession process itself, let me just recall that on the OECD side, there is no set end date for the accession progress. The duration of the process will depend on Romania's responses to the committee's recommendations for changes to legislation, policies, and practices. And although you are starting the process together with 4 other countries, Brazil, Bulgaria, Croatia, and Peru, each country will, of course, advance at its own pace and its own merits. It's not a race. What is more important is that we achieve what we achieve together through the accession process. So with that, let me invite you and your country to take full advantage of the great potential of the accession process, to leverage reforms, to deliver better policies for better lives. You mentioned our motto. Thank you, Minister. We look forward to strengthening the OECD together as a like-minded community of nations unified by our commitment to a rules-based international order. We also spoke about that just now. So as we embark on this journey of accession, we look forward to assist Romania in moving towards our mutual goal of Romania joining the OECD as soon as possible.
Questions? There are no questions.